I did not change, nor do I think I was going to change until I got broke. If I had not been in that jet crash, I would have just continued and had a career in the Marine Corps. I would have kept living like the way I was, and I probably would have been like the guy in college. I probably would have just continued to do things very objectively. Okay, like I want to be a Marine, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to live here, I want to have this. In a sense, I wouldn't have thought this way at the time, but I probably would have continued to be like a consumer. I would have been me-centric. And I might have given money to charities, and I might have done good deeds and being an okay guy, but I definitely would have been consumer-oriented, me-centric, whether I was being a Marine or what I was going to do next. And I didn't start really looking at people with empathy until I was the one who was broke. I mean, if you're broken and you stare inside and all you see is darkness, man, you got two choices. You let that darkness suck you down, or you find a way to fill it with something. When I stared into the darkness, what I found was purpose and faith in God. And when you have that, again, you turn from trying to acquire things and consume things and fill a hole, and that which was dark becomes a light that you're able to give to other people. People ask me sometimes, can you heal from PTSD? And my first reaction is to ask that question means you obviously don't understand it, because I think PTSD is something you overcome, that you can live a great life and you can get to the point that it does not impact your life. You live a great life, but it's still there. And there are still moments that I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll bolt up in bed and I'll have this thought, somebody put a bullet in my head. I don't want to be here. And if you were standing there and you had a gun, I'd say, Bob, pull the trigger. And then in that moment, I see my wife lying in bed next to me. I can hear my kids rustling around. I think about the people I'm able to help and what I get to do, and it just passes. And I think a little bit of that is always there, is because, to be just in the depths of it, it is a darkness that is almost impossible to describe. I mean, it is like turning out all the lights and blocking out all the sensations of the world and sights and sounds, and looking deep into your soul and seeing nothing but hell and torment and darkness and just not wanting to be here. Because really, PTSD comes from a trauma, and they're usually traumas that we can't get our heads around, that we can't explain. And especially if someone's died and you have lived, like happened in my case, the guilt you feel, the shame you feel can be overwhelming. You can almost feel like you deserve to die. And then when you can't control your mind, when the memories just spin out of control in your mind and you can't focus on anything else, it's like a hell that you're in, that you almost feel like you deserve to be there. And because you feel like you deserve to be there in some ways, you feel like you can never leave. There are always going to be shadows of it. There are always going to be echoes. But that's okay, because I think, to be honest, sometimes I don't fear it. It passes, and if anything, I think it's kind of like in the Bible, Paul talks about the thorn in his side. I think in some ways it's good I have it. I think it's the reason that after all these years that, I can still meet somebody and hear their story and cry. And I can meet somebody and hear their story and I just want to hug them. I just want to tell them it's going to be okay. It's because I still wake up like that sometimes. When someone comes to me and they're at that point where they want to believe, that they want to have hope, but they don't, I have found the most reassuring thing to say to them is, that's okay. That's normal. There's nothing wrong with that. That is all right. You go through what you've gone through, that's how you're going to feel. Don't put any guilt, don't put a burden. There's no quick answers. It just happens one step at a time. And the fact that you're even telling me about it means you've taken a step. And you just got to keep finding a way to take those steps and reaching out for people. And it's faith. It's faith that if you keep doing it, you're going to find that light. And there is no other answer. Once you're able to make that human contact with somebody, and once you're able to tell them, you don't have to be in the dark. You're not alone. You're not the only one feeling that way. That is normal. That's what I went through. That's what people go through. I mean, a lot of times you should just see the relief off of people, because really what they're asking you is not, how do I get past this? What they're asking you is, what's wrong with me? Am I beyond healing? Am I the only one going through this? And once you're able to connect with them, it really helps people kind of move forward. You know, the best prayer is listening to someone. You know, the best healers listen. And you build this sort of like connection that is where you want to find the shadows, listen. You know, you want to find the reflections of trauma that haunt us, listen. You got a loved one you want to help, just listen to them. That's all you got to do.